All right, guys, welcome back to the Haunted Homes live show. Apologies about the delays. I have been traveling quite a bit for work here. I've been spending the last couple of weeks down in Orange County just to make sure that I have a couple of clients down there that are really active, and I want to make sure that I understand the Bay Area and the LA County, Orange County, Southern California area too. It seems like the Bay Area will be going down into another lockdown starting Monday. Today is December 4th, so it's Friday. So Monday, we're looking at complete lockdowns again. So I wanted to clear things up because a couple of my clients did ask this question. When lockdowns do go, into effect, does it affect real estate work? Well, as of I think the beginning of April of this year, they went ahead and labeled us as essential workers. So we do need to still operate, and we can still operate. So that means that, all real estate work will be still functioning. It's going to be a little bit more difficult with the lockdown in the next coming weeks here. But that's a perfect reason for me to be able to travel down to Orange County, travel down to Long Beach area, and really get my feet dirty into that little market pocket there. And so I kind of want to dedicate this episode to what I've seen, my reflections on the differences between a listing from the Bay Area versus a listing in the LA Orange County area. Right off the bat, I want to let you guys know that the vibes are hella different, okay? Super duper different. And I'm going to dedicate some time to kind of show you guys what's so different about it. But that being said, let's go ahead and dive right into what I'm working on, like what areas I'm working on recently and what I've seen. I do have a client. He's a great friend. He's a great client. I actually helped him purchase his first home several years ago. He's now back in the market, ready for his second home, a little bit closer to family, a little bup more of that suburbia feel. So we are dedicating a lot of our time to the Concord, Dublin, Pleasanton area. And we're up in the mix right now. We have a good amount of funding, so I'm not too afraid of that. But the competition is heavy. It's really heavy. Living in San Francisco and seeing the kind of decline of real estate demand, I kind of am at fault to think that I guess no one's really caring and no one's really working. But in actuality, when you do go to Concord, when you go to Dublin, people are out and they're hunting. And I'll let you know this, it's very different than what San Francisco has to offer. I've already seen several listings where they'll list it on a Friday, and then by Saturday when we're viewing, they've already gone into pending. So I'm not really sure if it's due to the pandemic or maybe that's just their style over there, but I'll let you guys know that practice at the end of the day harms the seller tremendously. And it also is an inconvenience for buyers too. The ultimate goal of a listing is to attract and market your property, your product, and to get as many eyes and as many interested eyes as possible. And it's kind of disheartening when you see your fellow agents close down a listing based off of one offer. And then, I do follow up because I'm always curious, when you take one offer in this type of market, what happens, right? What is the probability of it completely closing? And, unfortunately, several of the ones that we were looking at closed in one offer and then reopened about 5 to 10 days later. Now, from what I've been taught, our methods, our process here at Haunted Homes, we want to avoid that as much as possible. When you do introduce your product, a listing, a property onto the market, it's just like milk, it's great, but then as time moves on, it starts expiring and less eyes want it and it's less desirable. So you don't want to waste the live on market time ever, right? So that's what we're dealing with in Concord there. Everything is still pretty standard as far as Bay Area vibes goes. There are reports in certain SFRs, full termites, home inspections. The disclosures are available to you. So the seller's disclosures, what they write on what they know about the property. It's all there for you before you go ahead and even write an offer, right? Which is great. That's exactly what I have been used to in the last 5 years. Now let's go ahead and go to the opposite end of things. The Bay Area is fantastic. So when we went to the LA, Long Beach, Orange County area, it was completely different. It felt like, everyone was kind of shooting from the hips, right? Like whatever process they had, it worked in the past, they're going to go for it. And there's no real like rhyme or reason. No one really follows along like a process. And so I want to dedicate this episode to kind of showing you guys the differences between a standard Bay Area listing and an LA Orange County area listing, and why it's so difficult for me to kind of wrap my head around these practices that they have down south. Okay, let's go ahead and dive into the main subject here, which I will be labeling LA versus the Bay listings. Okay, so I really don't want to bring you guys the facts because it's going to be a boring conversation. So I'm going to kind of walk you guys through the listing procedure. So when you do list and you are a listing agent, you kind of control the vibes, right? You control the overall process, the transaction, the mood, even the speed of the transaction too. So it's really crucial that you set a good standard when you do speak with buyer's agents, purchasing agents. I kind of want to show you guys a couple of examples. Okay. So I did have a client down in Orange County that was looking, whether it's Orange County, LA, we were even he was even sending me listings from Bev Hills. So this guy's full range, he's ready to go. And so we dove in, we did a couple of showings in the Long Beach area. And unfortunately, it was only a couple because we did have several lined up. But when I called them, it was quite concerning on what they were demanding and what their standard practices were. For example, we were looking at a property in Long Beach, and it was originally listed at $800,000. After about a week, it dropped $100,000, $700,000. I was like, wow, what the heck happened? So in my Bay Area mind, it's okay, it's been 1 week. Maybe they showed a bunch of disclosures, or maybe someone got a report on it and there's tremendous damage. There's tremendous issues with the foundation, something like that to warrant $100,000 reduction within 1 week. So that being said, I'm not a scared, agent. I want to hear their voice. I want to hear their reason. And so I gave the listing agent a call. And boy, I'm not quite sure. Maybe it's just the different vibes or whatever. I am from Orange County, but I've lived in San Francisco for almost 11 years now. And so I was kind of taken back by it. He essentially told me, oh, bro, he used bro about 21 times, in a conversation, but he was like, oh, bro, I already got 7 offers in hand. I want to reduce the price so I get more eyes on it. So just to let you know, if you are going to write an offer, don't write anything under $700,000 or $800,000. So let's break that down, because he said a lot of things that were concerning, right? If you had several offers in hand, are they not writing expiration dates? On the offer? Are they not doing 24-hour responses? What's going on? And the fact that you have these offers and you're not presenting it to the seller to make a decision, you're holding these buyers by a rope, right? And at the same time, you reduce the price for more eyes. It just didn't make a lot of sense, and it was completely sus, right? And so I told my client that, and he's like, "What? That's ridiculous. We're entering into a relationship with this agent for 21 to maybe 30 days, and he better be honest and truthful and carrying on through his work. If in the beginning of the relationship he's already piling it up with misconceptions, devious tricks, just to get the results that he wants, which is more offers in, it didn't make sense. So we kind of skipped it, right? So my client is extremely qualified, and he was extremely qualified for that property. But the fact that the listing agent played around, did small little stupid tricks to make him look good in front of the seller, maybe, I don't even know if he looks good in front of the seller, but the fact that he's doing these small little tricks, we were kind of turned off by that. So we weren't able to see it, but at the end of the day, we were able to see 2 other listings. One of them was fantastic. It was a small little bungalow. It was a good fit. But here's the thing, and maybe I just need to get used to it, but it was just red flags left and right. They listed it, had zero access to disclosures, okay? And to be specific, I asked hey, are you going to provide them later on? Are we going to be able to view them? And the listing agent straight up, on the phone, says, we do not share seller's disclosures until you enter escrow. Interesting. Maybe that is a viable path, but I'll let you guys know why that's terrible. So if you do not share disclosures before an offer or even before entering escrow, the buyer itself themselves are essentially buying blind, right? They're writing an offer. Well, you know, if I were to write an offer with that sort of statement by the listing agent, I would put almost all contingencies down. I want to be able to allow my clients an exit strategy, just in case we read something that is terrible, something that is like just, off the rockers, and we can exit. So that being said, no disclosures, no sort of form of like, I guess, sharing what's going on with the with the property, even the history of the property. That was a huge red flag for me. On top of that too, it seems like literally 0% of listings do the actual step of doing disclosures. So that means, providing a home inspection, termite, roof, even a pest if it's needed. It seems like everyone's kind of shooting from the hips down there and expecting the buyer to take that risk, right? And it's sad because, these actions are really short-term, great for you because you might close it and then, you're on to the next one. But in actuality, if you do these practices, man, what are the chances of people entering escrow, seeing that, maybe getting a report, and then you have to, like, the listing agent now, because they have material fact, they have to provide the public the disclosures, the reports that the buyers went ahead and purchased. And on long story short, it just cuts, it doesn't cut, I'm sorry, it extends the actual process of the transaction by tenfold. And like I said too, when you pressure buyers into escrow without really vetting them, what happens is you're going to be entering back into market. So we are going to see if the bungalow does go back into market. Usually, escrows take about 21 to 30 days. And so in that time, the buyer will have his or her chance to exit the escrow if they don't find something, or they do find something that is, detrimental to the purchase. So that's really sad for me. I talked to quite a few listing agents down in Orange County and Long Beach. And it seems like they're kind of stuck maybe like 30 to 40 years ago where, things were kind of done low key. You don't tell your clients very much, you kind of look busy, or you kind of like sound like you're doing a lot. But in actuality, when you're looking into your pathway and your process, you're skipping quite a few steps. And those steps are liability steps, right? And in San Francisco, in the Bay Area, because we are so like high volume and our properties are valued at such tremendous listing prices that any sort of case against us, a suit that is filed later on because of, lack of due diligence, harms us tremendously. So a lot of us, and I'm talking about the majority of listings that I see here in San Francisco and the Bay Area, provide almost the same exact structure. It's just sad for me to go ahead and experience such a vulnerable market for buyers and sellers too. I kind of want to point out something too. The fact that they don't do due dates, right? Like offer due dates really harms the seller. I'm not quite sure if listing agents or even the sellers for these listing agents know that they are being taken advantage of. Now, of course, the listing agent, what do they want? They want quick closes. They want to in and out, and they're done. In actuality, the due diligence and the fiduciary duties of a listing agent should be protecting the seller and have the seller's best interest in mind. And getting one offer in hand and then just, kind of forcing the seller to say, go ahead and take it, even if it's like 5 days into market, kind of review that process with yourself and say like, why would I go for the first guy that sends me an offer, right? Wouldn't I want to wait for the weekends, get some real live market time in, and then provide to my seller, my clients, the maximum ability to vet and choose. And I think a lot of those simple steps are being missed by a lot of these listing agents. So that being said, I'm hoping to be able to work a little bit more down in Orange County, the Long Beach area, and hopefully getting more listings and showing these clients and showing these agents, that we don't have to enter market 3 to 4 times. We don't have to waste a ton of time. We don't want to force people into escrow just to view the disclosures. These are minute steps that you can take just to be sure that transparency is going to be key for your transaction. Okay, that being said, let's go ahead and move into a little bit more on like how to handle a listing, right? Like I kind of want to walk you guys through what the procedures are of a solid, quick close, quick transaction listing. Ideally, what you will want to do is, okay, so once you set up everything, you have all the reports done, the disclosure package is ready, that's when you're ready to list. Most of the listings that I have seen and then I've worked on, we usually list Thursday afternoon or something like that. That'll allow a lot of folks, agents, buyers agents to go ahead and find us. Once we do that, the first weekend is like the test weekend, right? Like if we see a lot of appointments, if we see a lot of bookings and a lot of feedback, right? So for me in the Bay Area, when I'm about to write an offer, I will give the listing agent a call right away, letting them know who I am, who my clients are, how qualified they are, and that we're planning to write an offer. So typically within that first weekend, if we get a lot of fire stuff, right? Like, hey, yo, man, when's the due date, for offers, things like that. That's when we'll move in and go ahead and announce it to everyone who did a showing that maybe Wednesday would be offer day. Tuesday is like pressured, we had a lot of stuff, but usually Wednesday is a nice day. Now, let's just say we don't get any sort of contact like that, right? No asking of due dates, things like that. That's when we know that we need a secondary weekend. And usually that's the weekend that we'll go ahead and set the offer dates. And that, it'll following up from the next Tuesday, we'll go ahead and take offers. So usually we give the sellers 2 full weekends to find their buyer and find their strongest buyer. We're not looking just for someone who is capable of purchasing. We want someone who's straight up financially ready, right? They understand the market, they understand what the square footage cost is, and they're putting in a reasonable bid for the property. We don't want just folks just shooting from the hips, hey, let me do 3% down, 5% down. We don't want those guys. We want to find the best of the best buyers. So being on the live market and understanding how to communicate to kind of source your buyers right off the bat, just by a simple phone call, that's what it is. So within that pocket of time, you're going to be able to provide all the disclosures. And usually we ask them to sign it before sending the offer in. Why we do this? Because disclosures, seller disclosures reports, they're boring. Okay. And even if you provide it, a lot of times agents don't even read it, even before they write an offer in. So what we do is we make them and the buyers go ahead and review it and just sign off the front pages. That kind of waives our reliability. So let's just say they get into escrow and, they find some fault from it. The NHD, we don't want to be in the flood zone, things like that. Well, that's not really an excuse because we already, handed you the natural hazard disclosures and you signed off on that. So everyone here in the Bay Area kind of knows what's going on, and they're very careful with structuring that and getting the buyers to understand the true conditions of the home based off of disclosures, not photos, not Zillow, not what their friends say, not what the agent says. We want to know exactly what the seller has to say about the property. Okay, so that's the big difference here. That usually cuts down like the weekend warriors, the window shoppers, anyone who isn't handy or doesn't want to get deep diving into like issues. I would rather have everything up front. Right. So if we have termite clearance section 1 at like $1,500, I'd rather say that up front so that they know exactly what they're going through and they're going to be able to write an offer that reflects that cost there. And typically with my listings, when we do that, we have no issues. When we get into escrow officers aren't calling me randomly. The buyer's agent isn't really calling me to ask, hey, what's this? Can we do like another, inspection window? None of that, because we've already done everything for them, right? Okay, so that's typically how the process works. And then, we definitely selected 24-hour response rate for the offers. And then we're really pretty much, we have a ratified contract by Thursday. That being said, of course, there's always exceptions. A lot of times my clients are doing 1031s. They're doing exchanges where they need 45 days, they need rent back. And I'll definitely get deeper into how to handle rent back, and then also subject to tenants' rights, especially if they are already leasing the property that you're purchasing. Okay, so essentially that's what the episode is. I kind of wanted to share with you guys the differences between the Bay Area and then the LA County listing agents, and how kind of different they are. We're in the same state, same bylaws, everything like that, but in reality, it's up to the listing agent, it's up to their team to kind of set things up and set the mood up for everyone, including the buyers, including someone like me, the buyer's agent. Okay, cool. I hope you guys enjoy that conversation. I know I'm just kind of like jibber jabbering there, but I kind of want to give you guys some insights on what I see and what I go through, because honestly, guys, like, I'm on Instagram too. I see only success stories from these realtors. And when I do even talk to LA County realtors, the first thing that they tell me is, oh, bro, I just closed like 7 things in Irvine. And I'm like, that's really cool. But when I see your work and I see your listing package, it's a sad thing. Like, success and happiness and, like, real big moves like that by realtors, like, don't be fooled by it. Okay, so we all still have to go through the mess, and essentially I want to make sure that my clients understand I'm there to protect them. I'm not there for the commission. The commission is great, but here's the thing. I make friends with all of my clients, and I don't want to screw my friends over at any time. Okay, so hopefully with more time, I'll be able to bring that mood, that vibe, the Bay Area vibe down to LA, and then hopefully, change things up. Okay, so I want to do one like shameless plug. We are looking to expand our team in the LA Orange County area. So if you guys are watching this, someone, we honestly, like, no, like, we don't want to be like ageist or anything, but we're looking for younger agents that are willing to learn the Bay Area process, the San Francisco process that we've worked on for the last 30 years. And if you guys do know somebody who's already a realtor, he's licensed or she's licensed, and they're looking to learn a little bit more, get the vibe of a big city and the vibe of a big team that actually we haven't been sued since the beginning. So we've done something right, and we've stuck to that process. And most of our clients, we haven't really marketed at all in 30 years. Most of our clients are from referrals or repeats too. So for right now, I'm trying to expand down to the LA County area. So if you guys do know anyone who is interested, shoot them my information. I'd love to have a conversation with them, hear a little bit more on their experience working with other firms down there, what they've learned and what they're hoping to learn from San Francisco folks like us. Okay, well, thank you so much, guys, for joining in once again. This is the Haunted Homes live show. Please follow me on Instagram at Haunted Homes, and then also follow me on LinkedIn at Haunted Homes too. Okay, well, have a great weekend, guys. I'm so sorry for the Bay Area folks that we're about to go into another lockdown, but stay safe out there, stay vigilant, and make sure that you are finding ways to produce happiness and, feeling fulfilled, because that's something that I've been working on for the last several months, and it sucks and it's really hard. So I'll definitely maybe make an episode on, fulfillment and what we can do to stay kind of vigilant and active, and not like going into hermit mode, especially during these hard holidays that we're about to cancel, and hard times in lockdown. Okay, guys, well, thank you so much. Hopefully we will see each other soon. I will be actively working in the Concord and Dublin area, so if you would like to meet up or even have a conversation with me, socially distanced, maybe even in our separate cars, let me know. Take care, guys.